Hi humans, it's been a little bit. Wanted to say hello and see how you're doing. I wanted also to share with you. I experienced something yesterday that was so beautiful and I wanted to share it with you. Um, but recently I've also experienced some hardship. I've also spoken to so many families that are going through so many different things. And not only are they going through those things, but those are thoughts and feelings and conversations and comments and frustrations that I once said as well. So I could definitely relate with them. And I wanted to share them with you simply because I feel that there's many of us out there that are going through the same thing, that have experienced the same thing, and we struggle with how do we keep moving forward? How do we have a positive attitude? How do we have a good face when we encounter things? How do we continue living life? How do we like there's just so much as to how do we move forward with things. And I just kind of wanted to share with you my thoughts on that, because we're not alone in this journey, even though sometimes we feel, and oftentimes we feel that we do, where we don't have answers, or someone may say something that sounds great. Someone may say something that is just so out of this world that you're sitting there like, did you even listen to yourself? Like, really? Did you really hear yourself? So I just wanted to kind of reach out to you and let you know that we're all human. We all do good things and bad things. We all, sometimes common sense isn't common practice, so we don't say the right things, we don't hear the right things. But I wanted to just kind of let you know that there is hope, and there is someone that does have the right thing at the right time. Whether my humanity understands that, accepts that, believes that, whether it does or it doesn't matter. Truth is a truth. And I just wanted to share a word that I kind of reflected on, and it kind of became truth to me. Recently, in the last 24 hours, I saw and I heard, and I was able to be a part of a young person that was able to pray for another young person. And that prayer was so beautiful and so powerful that it left me in a place of humility where I was just like, wow, I never thought this person was capable of thinking like this, or feeling like this, or believing like this. Being that this young person who started the prayer, who initiated the prayer and completed the prayer, just wasn't the person that I would expect would have such power in what they were saying, that it left me in awe. And it not only did it leave me in awe, brought me to a place of humility. And then at the same time, I was thinking of another person that I just recently communicated with, who are in total despair, total loss. And those of us that have to navigate life through a disability, through a hardship of any sort, we find ourselves in a place of despair, in a place of just even disbelief. Even when we get to a place where we believe, but we don't believe, because we know, but we don't see. We know, but we don't feel. We've heard, but we've never experienced. So that turmoil that we feel inside, it's hard to manage, and it's hard to go through. And as I was thinking about that today, it brought me to Psalms 121, and it kept me there. Didn't even go that further, even though it's a great whole chapter, but it brought me there. It brought me to Psalms 121, verse 1 and 2, where it says, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My hope comes from the Lord, the Master, the maker of heaven and earth. And the reason why it brought me there is because I was just reading about that, and it's a question, where does my help come from? And then there's an answer, my help comes from the Lord. And I think that I find myself in that space oftentimes, where it's just like, all right, like I know what I know, I do what I do, I've been where I've been, I experienced what I've experienced, like I know. But yet I find myself where I'm like, but do I really know? Do I really feel what I feel? Is it really God? Is God really there? Does God listen? Is my prayer enough? Is my fasting enough? Like, it's just exhausting. Living is exhausting. Going through life and being okay, it's exhausting. It's so much work. And I felt like verse 1 is kind of where I find myself at. And if you find yourself in that place where you're just looking up, and it says there, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. And whether it's the physical mountains there. If it was written, when it was written at those times, they would say that gods lived in the mountains. So are they looking because they believe that that's where their gods came from? And then the response to that is, doesn't matter what humanity thinks or what we believe in, the truth is that our help comes from the Lord. So whatever interpretation and understanding anyone wants to believe on that, when I look up, a lot of the times we look up and we're looking for help. We're looking for help and we're believing in God, or we see that what's before us is so massive that it's something that we can't conquer, or it's something that is so big that we can hide behind it. However you're looking at your mountain, whatever that looking up means to you, I know that for me, sometimes it plays both. It plays where I'm just looking up and I'm just sitting back and I'm just so overwhelmed by the magnitude of things that it's just like that fight or flight. Some of us just kind of freeze and we're just like, okay, so what do we do now? So I find myself in that place. And if you find yourself in the place where you're looking up and what's before you, it's just so big. And what's before you has been before you for years, sometimes even decades. And some of us, it will never change, because what's before us is a disability. It's a lifestyle. It's the ways God created the person that we're caring for, the person that God has placed in our life. Like, that is what it is. And that mountain will never be moved. And so when we're looking at that, how do we have hope? How do we have faith? How do we have strength to persevere? How do we not judge ourselves for feeling a certain type of way? Am I supposed to feel happy because I have this mountain before me? Am I supposed to feel content? Oh, God knows all things. Or God doesn't give me something I can't handle. Like, just moving all of that aside and being able to feel and say, you know what? This is hard. I really don't want to be here. I really don't want to endure this. And then we feel guilty because it's not their fault that they're the way they are. It's not their fault that this hardship is on us. Like, it's just this inner battle that we face. And one of the biggest thing is, how do I manage that? How am I okay when that is not okay? When my world in front of me is not okay, when the people in front of me is not okay, when it will never change. It may change, it may not change. Like, how am I okay living in my skin? How am I okay moving forward? How am I okay growing and thriving? Like, how do I manage that? And sometimes we don't even want to share that. Sometimes we don't even want to admit that, because admitting to not being okay sometimes makes us feel weak. Sometimes make us feel like our faith isn't strong enough. Sometimes makes us feel like we did wrong. Like, it's so hard to be in our head. It's so hard to be alive. It's so hard to do life. It's just a hard space. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe in God when no change comes, no growth comes, nothing. But I just want to go to verse 2 where it says, my hope comes from the Lord. And I have to remind myself that regardless of how I feel, regardless of what I'm going through, my hope comes from the Lord. And the rest of the chapter, it tells me all the ways that he helps. And sometimes just believing in God is hard enough. Sometimes believing in God is the biggest question. Sometimes believing in God is the mountain that we're trying to overcome, or we're trying to get past. But I just want to encourage you that regardless what your mountain is, our help comes from the Lord. And there's no words that are going to make you feel better. There's no person that may make you feel better, because your situation is your situation. And no one's in your shoes. No one's in your situation. No one is enduring what you're enduring. But I just want to remind you that our help comes from the Lord. Be encouraged. I know times are hard. I know that living is hard. But our help comes from the Lord. I hope you're encouraged today. Know that I'm thinking about you, knowing that I'm praying for you. And if you haven't reached out, don't hesitate to reach out. There's a community of us that are praying for you. Be blessed.